Hey you guys, it's Teaching A back with another video with this makeup tutorial. Nice and Christmassy. And if you want to see how I did it, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Turn on the notification bar for all my posts and keep watching this video. Of course, I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade. Dang, I can't talk. Dip Brown Pomade in the shade Ebony. And it's fresh, bit. Now make sure you brush out those brows so you can get an even product application when you're using the pomade. And brush them. Alright, and you don't need a pound of this product for it to work. You only need a little bit. Like, it literally goes a long way. But I'm going to just start by outlining the bottom line of my brow. And boom, boom, boom. Watch me wizard. Now I'm just brush my eyebrows through, make sure everything is blended and it's no harsh lines. Now I'm going to conceal my eyebrows using the shade Rich Caramel and Warm Honey. Using the Ruby Kisses concealer. I use it every single time, nothing new. And I like to put it on the back of my hand. I don't know why, that's just what I do. And I'm taking a flat brush, we can say. Here it is. And I'm just going to, using small, short strokes, outline and conceal my brow. And I like to do short strokes because it just makes it so much easier to not make mistakes. Because if I try to just do one straight long line to clean up the brow, it's like, can't really see. But if I do the short strokes, it's like, okay, now I need to make this part go up a little bit more rather than just doing the one straight line of concealer. Now, when I do the top of my brow, I just like to turn the brush to the side rather than using the tip. It just makes that line so much cleaner, especially since I'm left-handed. It's a little harder to put that whole brush directly down, if that makes sense. And now I'm just sharpening up the tail of my brow, make sure it's an even point and it doesn't look a little crazy compared to the rest of my brow. Now I'm using my Ruby Kisses brush. It says it's the eyeshadow brush, but I use it personally to blend. I like how it blends it out. And I'm not doing like an actual jam and swipe off the actual product, I'm just like tapping it into my skin rather than swiping it off my skin because I don't want to remove the actual product. And right here, please blend that concealer in between those brows. I hate when I can just tell they didn't put any type of makeup right in between those eyebrows. It just looks so crazy to me because the complexion isn't going to be the same. And voila, that's how you slay them brows like a baby. Now I'm going to prime my lids with the concealer in, oh, what did I say it is? Rich caramel. Just so I can brighten up because my lids are a little bit darker than my skin. So you just want to make that even so when I get ready to put that eyeshadow on there, it's bright and even. Now blend that bad boy out. And again, I'm just doing a tap because I want everything to be even and I want to keep my product. To set my lid, I could see myself. I was so amazed by this. I'm using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter powder in the shade Honey, and I'm gonna tap just a little bit because a little bit goes a long way with this powder. I'm telling you, just a little bit into my eyes just to make sure nothing's wet. This is the Juvia's Tri Palette, and I'm using the shade Sand. It's a smoky dark green, and I'm just going to pat that all over my lid. Now I'm using the Urban Decay Naked palette, and I'm going to be using the shade Whiskey, and I'm going to be putting it around the outside of my crease, following the shape of my lid that I used with that dark green. And with makeup, you really want to take your time blending, especially with eyeshadow. But since that dark green was pretty dark, just like the brown, the shade Whiskey, actually, I forgot to say that. It's pretty easier to blend together because they're both kind of dark. But when you're using like a lighter shade, it takes a little bit more time. Now I'm using the Verani glitter palette. It's full of these amazing pressed glitters. And of course, I'm using this green. And I'm going to pack it right onto my lid. And just boom, 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 add a little razzle dazzle. And once I get that glitter on there, it is kind of spread it out a little bit rather than where I'd like it to be. So I'm going back in with that dark green and I'm just going to blend and clean things up a bit, you know. To do my liner, I'm using the Fenty Beauty Stunner Lip Paint. And I'm using this little brush. I'm not even sure where I got it from, but it's just like an eyeliner brush, basically. And I'm just going to take my time. And this is how I do my liner with short strokes. I'm going to just show you again one more time how I do that liner on my other eye. Depending on what kind of mood I'm in, I like to mix my foundations. And right now I'm going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me in the shades 330 and 340. All right, when I'm mixing foundations, I like to do circular motions because it really blends it in, but not necessarily like sweeping, but I just want to make sure it's mixed, but I don't want to remove any product off of my face. I want to make sure I press it all into my skin. And I'm making sure I'm getting that area like jawish under chin. And I'm also dragging it down my neck because I don't want my face makeup to not match my skin on my neck and the rest of my chest and all of that. Can't be out here looking crazy, sis. This is that same rich caramel concealer that I used earlier by Ruby Kisses. I'm going to put that in the inner corners of my eye because I want those to brighten up. And my under eyes are kind of dark, so this is going to help with that. And it's also going to cover up them bags. I be sleeping and I still can't get rid of these things. Now I'm using my NARS concealer. I'm pretty sure it's in the shade Amandy. Maybe I might be lying. If it's not, I'm gonna put it down in the comment section. And it has a little bit of a fuller coverage compared to the Ruby concealer that I'm using. So I just want to add a little bit of that to make it a little fuller look. And on the outer part of my under eye is where I'm going to be placing the Ruby Kisses concealer in the shade Golden Honey. It's a little bit closer to my actual tone. And I don't know why I was feeling so jazzy and I wanted to use 3 different type of concealers today, but we're going to make it do what it do, honey. Of course, I'm putting it down my nose. And I really just got into putting the concealer on top of my mouth. I usually just drag it down from my under eyes. And then I'm just going to put a little bit on my chin, of course. And here, that's it. And just a little bit on the forehead, too. I want to get it a little brighter because it's already big. Contour, this is the Maybelline foundation in the shade 360, and I'm putting that around my forehead, on my jawbone. Well, that's not jawbone, that's my cheekbone. I'm tripping. My cheekbones. And I also like to put it down the sides of my nose just to slim it down a little bit. And yeah. Now I'ma blend it on out, blend it on out, pop, pop, blend it on out, blend it on out. Take a brush, blend it out. Take a brush and blend it out. And don't forget to tap it in, no swiping. And make sure you drag it down that chin into that area for real though. For real though. Now with my under eye concealer, I really like to alternate between my little tiny Ruby Kisses brush and the big brush because I really feel like the little brush makes sure the makeup gets into all those tiny creases. And then with my big brush, I'm scared I'm going to like hit my eyeshadow or get in the other pieces. So I usually use the big one just to settle the blend, if that makes sense. To blend out my contour, this is the e.l.f. foundation blurring brush. I usually get these out of like a CVS or a Walgreens. I think it might have been like $12. I love their brushes as well. They just, ooh, look, ooh. Still using that honey powder from Fenty. I'm taking a little bit and I'm just tapping it into my skin. Make sure I'm really pressing it into those creases. Under my eyes, I have like super bad lines. So I'm really making sure I'm getting that powder into there because I hate when it creases. I found that actually pressing the powder in before you bake and put a lot of it really helps with the flashback. It makes it just, I don't know what the difference is, even though it's the same thing, but it just really helps. It's not as bright when I press it in and then put a lot of powder on top. Now I'm using the Black Radiance True Complexion Contour Palette in the shade Light to Medium. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of bronze up my face a little bit. All around my cheeks, around my forehead, down the side of my nose. And sometimes, depending on what type of mood I'm in, I like to do it on my actual jawline as well. For blush, I always use the Festival palette by Juvia's Place with the shade Izafa, that dark red, and I put it all on my cheekbones with this fluffy brush, and I got it from my mama, and I'm not sure where. I think it might be Mary Kay, though. I added a little bit of highlight, liner, and lip gloss, and this is the final look. Make sure you comment and like this video. This is how it looks under the flash. Hey, look. This is it in natural light. Hey, look. And this is under the ring lights. Still a look. Peace.